If you had to think of a new mode to add to your upcoming fighting game, would you think of war-torn real-time strategy story mode? Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Ring out.
Soulcalibur, the game series with madames that breast very boobily and gentlemen with six-packs so sharp they could cut steel, was the main fighting game franchise that I played most when I was younger. Mostly known for being a 3D fighter with weapons-based combat, the franchise also featured stunning visuals and an intriguing story. The entry I'll be talking about today is Soulcalibur III, which remains my absolute favorite in the series. Developed by Project Soul, it was actually the last Soulcalibur game Namco ever published before merging with Bandai to later become Bandai Namco Entertainment. It was released on October 25, 2005 in North America, November 18, 2005 in Europe, and November 23, 2005 in Japan. It's unfortunate that the series has been dead in the water for years and basically ignored by Bamco in favor of its flagship fighting game Tekken. Soulcalibur III was apparently even supposed to receive a remaster this year, but sadly, that hasn't happened yet. Editing Rosie here to say that it ended up re-releasing for the PS Plus Classics catalog on December 16th, so enjoy! While there's plenty of features to highlight about Soulcalibur III, I wanted to focus specifically on its real-time strategy mode, Chronicles of the Sword, which tells the story of 3 countries at war. I vaguely recalled playing this mode and how difficult it was for me all those years ago, and I wanted to give it another try. So let's jump right in and give it a shot. Oh, and just a teeny tiny disclaimer. I am by no means a good fighting game player. Never have been, never will be. In fact, I would barely classify myself as a decent one. Terrible, really. More of a spammer, to be honest. Just a warning. I also didn't do any studying of tier lists or command lists, so don't expect much from that side of things either. I'm just a filthy casual. When the game starts, this cute Galaga animation plays. I always thought it was such a fun little addition. It's so cute. But then, the most terrifying thing happens. If any of you were kids during the 80s to the 2000s, you may want to avert your eyes and your ears. Utterly traumatizing. Then the opening CGI animation fades in. I have to say, this really is a beautiful animation. It's aged so well in my opinion. I used to watch it every single time I booted up the game. Both the visuals and the music are presented so well. I always loved it so much, in fact, that I even drew the Soul's Embrace imagery here when I was younger. See? Art.
Soulcalibur III. Welcome to the new stage of history.
I was straight up obsessed with this game's aesthetic. Just look at this menu screen! The water, the 2 pillars representing the titular Soulcalibur and Soul Edge, the books that fit the theme of this being a historical point in ancient times, and the music. It's all just so... chef's kiss! Although I said I'd be mainly playing Chronicles of the Sword, I can't contain my level of nostalgia. So, before jumping in, I'm gonna try out the main story mode, Tales of Souls. I already know which character I'll be playing, my old main, Talim!
Wind!
She's all about wind. Tales of Souls was a neat trip down memory lane and highlighted what I loved a lot about this game. Although each character's story is told mostly through this map screen, it always gave me a sense of adventure and intrigue at where my chosen optional path might lead. It was really neat seeing the cutscenes again too. In this cutscene specifically, I always thought it was kind of funny how Zasalamel gets drowned out here by the music.
You're better than I expected. Your skills are quite impressive.
There's even QuickTime events in some of these scenes, which I thought was really weird for a fighting game to have at the time. They're even featured in characters' endings. Talim's is tapping the guard button or the X button a bunch of times to destroy Soul Edge.
Well, yeah.
Even after everything I told you.
Ah, come on. It's okay. It's gone now anyway.
It's not okay.
Okay, I have to break out a character here and mention that this line from Talum has been an inside joke between me and my sister for years. We say this a lot whenever one of us goes, "It's okay." The other will respond, "It's not okay." I just wanted to mention that real quick because it was surreal hearing it again. Oh yeah, and I can't forget the credits. The theme played here, called Path of Destiny, is so incredibly good. I encourage all of you to go listen to the whole thing. And I like the graphics here, but for some reason, I always laughed at this one because it kind of looks like a tornado is about to engulf Kilik and Changhua. I don't know why my brain has always made me see that, but I've never been able to unsee it.
The legend will never die.
It did die. Like, back in 2018. I unlocked some features in the shop after that playthrough and decided to take a look. There's the weapon shop.
Hi there!
Where you, of course, buy new weapons. The armor shop.
Welcome to my store!
Where you can purchase different gear and hairstyles for your created characters. And finally, the item shop.
Welcome.
Where you can get minigames or miscellaneous side content to view in the museum menu, like illustrations, character weapon demos, etc. Yep, a bunch of things to enjoy outside of Chronicles of the Sword. Speaking of, let's finally hop into that. While the story here does reference a bit of Soulcalibur's lore, it doesn't dive that deep into it, like, at all, since it's a standalone story, so don't worry about that. So when you start a new game, you're prompted to create a character who will serve as the protagonist of the story. Because I'm very humble, I decide to play as myself. Next, you select a job. It determines your fighting style, your stats, and the types of disciplines you can unlock later on. Since the main job I played in Final Fantasy XIV for years was Dancer, I thought it might be fun to play as that. I later come to deeply regret this decision. Also important to note, you can't change your job once you start a new game. From here, we can finally start customizing our character. Since I don't have many options unlocked, I chose to just use the default Dancer appearance and simply adjust the colors and face option. Since she represents moi, I named her Rosie. She turned out sorta cute, I think. Next, we see the intro to Chronicles of the Sword. I can't do it justice by just describing it to you, so I'm just gonna let it play.
This is another tale of souls and swords. Once there existed on a great continent 3 countries, the Grandal Empire, the Kingdom of Dalkia, and the Haltese Republic. The Kingdom of Dalkia and the Haltese Republic waged a great war against one another for countless years. The Grandal Empire stayed out of the conflict, amassing their army quietly. In a time when King Chester, the great tactician and instigator of the war which later came to be known as the Mantis War, had not yet appeared in the annals of history. The key figure in the war was a mere cadet of the Grandal army.
I know that entire thing by heart, by the way. So yeah, if it wasn't obvious enough, the cadet of the Grandal army that's mentioned here is us. Before we can move on to the real chronicles, we first must tackle the art of war, or the tutorial. At the start of each chronicle, you're shown a textual prologue that gives you the rundown and the setup for whatever's about to happen in the story. Here we're introduced to Abelia, a fellow cadet, and General Gerardo, who will be our instructor. Gerardo explains that we, baby birds, need to carefully issue commands to our forces on the battlefield, or they could lose their lives. Then I'm given a big old text dump of instructions. It's a bit annoying to read all this, but the mechanics are easy. You're then shown the conditions for victory and defeat, which happen on every chronicle. They change sometimes here and there, but for the most part it'll always be take the enemy's main stronghold. Next, you'll be choosing who to bring with you on the battlefield. You guys okay? There's a limited number of units or soldiers that you can bring with you on a chronicle, with a max of 5. No matter what, your created character will always be required to enter the battle. Next, you're given the map. which will show you where your units will be starting out and also where the enemy units will be starting out. Starting the gameplay now, and General Gerardo then says he'll explain all the different commands that you can use per chronicle, before immediately dumping another textual explanation on me. Okay, now I'm starting to think he's just lazy. You can move a unit along a predefined route by selecting the spot you want each of them to go. If they run into obstacles like enemy strongholds or enemy units, they'll start fighting. Strongholds can house units inside where they'll heal up over time. If your unit is inside a stronghold, you can use gold to fortify it, which gives it more health, defense, and becomes a respawn point for KO'd units. Once a stronghold's HP is depleted, you'll trigger a
Decisive battle.
This means you'll be entering a Soulcalibur style battle. This battle was pretty easy, but trust me, that won't last. Your units will receive some experience points after the battle, whether you win or lose, and their stats will increase when they level up. When a stronghold is defeated, it becomes your property.
It's free real estate.
Gerardo then explains that I was gradually losing health in that battle. Honestly, it went by so fast I didn't even notice. Basically, this is just to introduce that some strongholds will have area effects on them, which can place you at a disadvantage. After some more battles, I go on to take the main stronghold. At the end of every chronicle, you'll receive gold based on what you did. You can also see on the screen any of the units that have joined you. Now we finally come to our very first chronicle, called Day by Day. We'll be facing Abelia from earlier, who's apparently the sharpest woman at the academy. In that case, I expected to see some pretty great tactics from her then. Someone says, I'm not sure who's talking since they show no name, that since it's a practice battle, they'll let us keep our lives when we lose. Major tough guy energy right there, ooh, look out. Rosie, as in in-game Rosie, realizing in a real battle situation that there would be no tomorrow for her, she decides that defeat is not an option. Before starting, you have the option to shop and spend all that hard-earned gold. This is actually a good idea, since better weapons with better effects will unlock as you progress. Oh, and their cosmetic value can't be ignored either. During the practice battle, I easily make my way to the main stronghold, and inside, we're treated to a cutscene with Abelia.
Good luck to you. Fight with all your might, as I will.
Battle 1. Fight!
Unfortunately, my footage lags quite a bit here, but let it be known that I got a perfect in this battle.
Did you enjoy my dance?
After winning, Abelia exclaims, "Were my tactics not good enough?" Oh, Abelia, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm sure any seasoned commander will tell you that sitting in your castle and sending 2 whole soldiers to fight the enemy and doing literally nothing else is a great strategy. You'll get him next time, champ, no worries. Chronicle 2, Leaving the Nest. It seems like it's time for Rosie to take her final test at the academy, and General Gerardo himself will be our opponent. Ooh, we're on a desert stage this time. Man, PlayStation 2 games had some amazing graphics. I just love all the details in the backgrounds for this mode. Okay, we have to fight Gerardo now, who flatly welcomes the challenge.
You are strong. One day, you will succeed in life. Of course, only if you manage to defeat me.
My footage lags here again, sorry. Don't worry, I fixed this eventually when I noticed. Just know that I wrecked Gerardo and leveled up. We pass the test and prepare for our very first real battlefield experience in Chronicle 3, Live by the Sword. After graduating, Rosie became a commander entrusted with a border garrison. Sick! She decides to reflect on herself for a moment and wonder what it is she's fighting for. Subtly, brigands are spotted near the border and it's time to deploy. Mega here remarks that, based on how they move, these are no ordinary brigands. We also get a glimpse of this mysterious man. I swear, this is the last time my footage lags super bad. I'm sorry! We get to the mysterious man who says, "It's time you die, most likely, I can't remember. And then we fight! After beating him with Mega,
I'm itching.
he says,
I have absolutely no intention of dying here.
he does a backflip, salutes, and then jumps off the stage. Chronicle 4, Battlefield Moon. It's explained that several days later, the Kingdom of Dalkia suddenly declared war on Grandal, citing that it's a retaliation because Grandal's soldiers were spotted amongst the fleeing brigands. Obviously a setup. Rosie is terrified at the events to come in a real war and wants to protect her future. So for now, she would take up the sword. Or tambourines, whichever works. Apparently, Grandal's soldiers are already on the losing end of this battle, but we reinforcements arrived just in time to face Miss Looney Luna over here. So this stage was business as usual until I bring down this tent here and what do you know, Astaroth, a standard character in the series, was hiding inside. He's level 60 by the way.
Final battle, fight!
Let's end this!
Yeah. Turns out there can be strong Soulcalibur characters in some of these strongholds. You best believe I start checking every single one before I bring them down from this point onwards. Next, I take on Luna.
You're certainly a handful. I shall remember your name, as you are the only one who has provided a worthy challenge.
After defeating her, easily, I must say, she gets upset and orders a retreat. This causes all of the enemy units to move into their main stronghold. Great, now I have 5 enemies I have to take down in a row.
I'm itching.
It's the Battle of the Itches. After winning, we move on to Chronicle 5, Bridge to Hatred. Rosie, after obtaining her first victory in a real battlefield, struggles to even call it a victory since there was so much loss of life. Although she wants time to grieve, the next order her troop receives is to counterattack Dalkia. Having doubts about attacking to defend, she's interrupted by a familiar voice, Abelia, who pushes her to continue the fight in order to bring it to an end. This time we have an extra loss condition, that we lose this big old bridge here. It was once a bridge for commerce between Grandal and Dalkia, but now at a time of war it has to be defended so that Grandal can move its giant forces into Dalkia. It's pretty noticeable here that the gameplay is mostly the same in every single level. You'll be moving some units along a route to fight some enemies, you'll do a little bit of Soulcalibur fighting, avoid the Soulcalibur character placed on the map somewhere, then you'll eventually take on the main stronghold, rinse, and repeat. Although simple enough that anyone can play this mode, it does get quite repetitive. Still, I move on to Chronicle 6, The Moon Wears Silver Armor. Now we've pushed through to the outskirts of Revlis, Dalkia's capital. We'll be facing Luna again, but this time with her 4 closest comrades. One of them, Age, mentions Luna's loss against us the other day, and Hildo here tells her to keep her voice down because that's been really bothering her. You ladies do realize you're currently at war on a battlefield, and not your high school clique's favorite cafeteria table, right? I'm with you, Loopy. Lupi? I'm not really sure. But anyway, I eventually take on Luna again.
So we meet again. Now, it's time to collect on your debt.
She has a buff of gradually healing over time, and her attacks pack a massive hit behind them, especially considering that, as a dancer, I don't have a whole lot of vitality. But I'm able to defeat her, after also defeating her girl group. I move on to Chronicle 7, Unfulfilled Heart. The Haltese Republic has invaded Grandal. We're ordered to turn over command of the Dalkia offensive to Abelia and make our way to break through Haltese's western defensive wall. Further, we're to advance to Haltese's capital and then wait and support the main Grandal forces when they arrive. All ordered by the Emperor, Strife. Geez, isn't this kind of a lot for my tiny unit of a few soldiers? No one in my unit is very happy with the arrangement and feels that this is a mission destined to fail. Suddenly, Gerardo appears and decides to join us. Well, alright, we got our general with us. Entering the battle, this guy, Halfus, is almost insulted that our small unit was all that was sent to fight here. Anyway, this all goes exactly how you'd expect if you've been paying attention. Bam, bam, bam! Victory, victory, victory! Enemy doesn't stand a chance. I eventually faced that Halfus guy with an icy floor debuff, But, of course, I still win. Assert dominance. I'm good at this game. As long as you ignore that I did this in the very next battle. We go on to attack the enemy's main stronghold, and Halphus, who fled here after his defeat, gets dealt with by this woman, Mooncalf. She says Haltis is better off destroyed, but she won't let us be the ones to do it. We battle, and win, of course. Hello! Sorry to cut this video here, but it ended up being way longer than I intended, and it's taking forever to edit, so I need to split it into parts. Please subscribe to see the next part to Soulcalibur 3, and I'll try to get it done as soon as I can. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone! See you next time, and remember to shine on!